So, the topic for today's episode comes from my good friend and loyal listener, Dawn. Dawn wanted to learn about roadrunners because she told me outside her New Mexico home there appeared to have been a fight between a feral cat and a roadrunner, and the roadrunner seemed to have come out victorious. The cat, on the other hand, well, apparently it used up the last of its 9 lives, if you get my drift. Now, the evidence left behind from this encounter was a deceased cat surrounded by a bunch of roadrunner feathers. And I'm not sure a roadrunner is capable of killing a cat. Sounds like the roadrunner was framed or eaten by something else. But to be honest, an episode on roadrunners has crossed my mind on a number of occasions, only to run off again, as roadrunners are prone to doing. And I was in search of a topic for this episode, so here we are. The perfect crossroads of me searching for a topic and Dawn searching to satisfy her curiosity. So let's stop wasting time and learn about roadrunners. I'm your host, Tim the Nature Nerd O'Hara, and this is the Dispatches from the Forest podcast. Many people are only familiar with roadrunners from the Saturday morning cartoons, where the roadrunner outruns and outsmarts Wile E. Coyote at every turn. In real life, roadrunners are not nearly as big or as fast as they were depicted in that cartoon. Also, coyotes can't carry anvils. I know, right? If you can't trust Saturday morning cartoons to give you an accurate depiction of wildlife behavior, who can you trust? But I guess that's why you're listening to this podcast. Roadrunners are long-legged birds in the cuckoo family, and the greater roadrunner, the one found here in the United States, along with the lesser roadrunner, are the 2 species in the genus Geococcus, which means earth cuckoo. Greater roadrunners are found from central Mexico throughout the southwestern United States and up into northern California in semi-open, scrubby desert habitat from below sea level to nearly 10,000 feet in elevation, 3,000 meters. On a side note, the oldest known fossils of greater roadrunners are from a cave in New Mexico and estimated to be around 33,500 years old. And prehistoric remains indicate that until about 8,000 years ago, the greater roadrunner was found not in scrubby deserts, but in sparse forests. So adapting to arid environments is something that happened more recently. Thanks to this fact and human transformation of the landscape, the greater roadrunner has recently started expanding its range to the northeast, where there are sparse forests, similar to the forests that existed in the prehistoric North American Southwest. But I digress. The largest species of cuckoo in the Americas, the greater roadrunner stands 10 to 12 inches tall, 25 to 30 centimeters, and is about 2 feet long, 62 centimeters, with probably more than half of that being the tail. The upper body, neck, and upper breast are white or pale brown mottled with dark brown streaks, and the belly is white. This mottled plumage helps camouflage roadrunners in the dusty shrubs where they live. A bushy black crest sticks up on their head, like a mohawk, and, as you'll learn shortly, these are pretty punk rock birds. And they have a bare patch of orange and blue skin behind each eye. Now, males and females have identical plumage, but in adult males, that bare blue skin patch might be white instead, and the orange is often hidden by feathers. But when threatened or displaying to a rival, they erect their crest and reveal this bright orange patch of skin. And while identical in plumage, females are slightly smaller than the males, but by less than an inch on average, so unless you're some kind of super genius, you'd probably never even notice. A roadrunner's beak is long and stout with a hooked tip, and their feet are zygodactyl, which is a great word, and it means that 2 toes face forward and 2 face backwards, as opposed to anisodactyl, the most common arrangement of digits in bird, where there are 3 toes pointing forward and 1 pointing backward. Now, true to its name, roadrunners are excellent runners, able to maintain a speed of 18 to 20 miles an hour, 29 to 32 kilometers an hour over long distance. When running, they hold their heads and tails parallel to the ground, using that long tail as a rudder to help change direction. It prefers to run in open areas like packed trails, dry riverbeds, or, roads, rather than dense vegetation. They're actually the fastest running bird that can still fly. Only some flightless birds are faster runners. But while they can fly, they don't necessarily do it well. Feeling threatened might trigger a short, low burst of flight to escape or find a place to hide, but otherwise, flying is limited to gliding from a nest or perch to the ground or in between perches. Also, for the record, despite the cartoon character's perennial victories over Wile E. Coyote, real life coyotes present a real life danger to roadrunners. Coyotes can reach a top speed of 43 miles an hour, 63 kilometers an hour, more than twice as fast as the roadrunner. And coyotes are significantly larger than the roadrunner, unlike what you saw in the cartoon. So, what's with all the running, anyways? Well, roadrunners are omnivores, and they use that speed to outrun and catch their prey. While on the move, they startle and flush a meal by flashing the white spots on their open wings. But here's where the roadrunner gets really punk rock. Mostly what they eat are small animals, anything they can catch, including reptiles, frogs, toads, insects and other invertebrates, centipedes, birds, including eggs and chicks, and carrion. Roadrunners can jump straight up to snag insects, bats, and even hummingbirds in flight. Greater roadrunners eat poisonous prey, including venomous lizards and scorpions, with no apparent ill effect, although they're careful to swallow horned lizards head first, with the horns pointed away from their vital organs. They kill rattlesnakes by pecking them repeatedly in the head. Sometimes they work in tandem with another roadrunner. One distracts the snake by jumping and flapping, the other sneaks up and pins its head, then bashes the snake against a rock. And if it's too long to swallow all at once, the roadrunner will walk around with a length of snake still hanging out of its mouth, swallowing it a little at a time as the snake digests. That's hardcore. And this is a common tactic, slamming large prey like rodents and lizards against a rock or the ground multiple times. Not only does that dispatch the prey, it breaks down the bones and elongates the victim, making it easier to swallow. Now, while they may have adapted to arid environments relatively recently, evolutionarily speaking, they have adapted quite well. Moisture-rich prey like mammals and reptiles supply them otherwise scarce water in their diet. Like seabirds, they secrete a solution of highly concentrated salt through a gland just in front of each eye, which uses less water than excreting it via their kidneys and urinary tract. And to deal with the heat, roadrunners flutter the unfeathered area under their chin to dissipate heat, a behavior known as gular fluttering. At night, roadrunners reduce energy expenditure by more than 30%, lowering their body temperature from 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius, to 93 degrees Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius. In the morning, they warm back up by sunbathing, turning their backs towards the sun, ruffling the black feathers on their back and head, and exposing their black skin, allowing both skin and feathers to absorb the heat of the morning sun's rays. In the winter, when the temperature is around 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius, roadrunners may sunbathe several times a day for a half an hour or more at a time. Now, greater roadrunners are very vocal, with at least 7 distinct variants of their calls. The most frequent call is a slow and descending sequence of about 6 low cooing noises emitted by the male. Females give off up to 22 short, low-frequency shrills, And during incubation and chick rearing, the most common vocalization by both males and females is a series of 5 or 6 chatters accompanied by a groaning sound. What's conspicuously missing is this one.
Meep, meep. Meep, meep.
Now, roadrunners mate for life. The pair renews their pair bond each spring with a series of elaborate courtship steps and calls. Mating is equally orchestrated. The male leaps onto his partner's back while holding a mouse or other food offering, which both partners grasp as they do the deed. A unique feature of the Greater Roadrunner is that mated couples continue these copulation rituals long after the need for egg fertilization. This is believed to contribute to their pair bond maintenance. Marriage is work, folks. You gotta put in the effort. Afterward, the male circles his mate, bowing, cooing, and flicking his tail in a stylized display. Greater Roadrunner couples defend a territory that averages between 7,500 and 8,600 square feet, 700 to 800 square meters. The male is more territorial, calling out to warn competitors and not hesitating to physically push intruders out. Definitely gives get off of my lawn vibes. The pair chooses a shaded, well-concealed site for their nest, 3 to 10 feet, 1 to 3 meters or more off the ground, on a horizontal branch or in the crotch of a sturdy bush, cactus, or small tree, often near a path or stream bed that can provide both nesting material and food. The male's job is to bring twigs to the female, which she fashions into a compact platform with a nest cup about 4 inches wide. If the male pauses too long in his stick gathering, he may get prompted to get his lazy butt back to work with a whining call from his partner. And since my wife listens to the podcast, that's all I'm going to say about that. The finished nest can reach over 17 inches, 43 centimeters in diameter, and be 8 inches or 20 centimeters high, lined with leaves, grasses, feathers, smaller sticks, even snakeskin and flakes of cattle and horse manure. Don't ask me why. I don't know. The parents will continue to work on the nest during incubation and build up the sides of the nest as the chicks grow. 2 to 6 eggs are laid and incubated for about 3 weeks. Although, like other members of the cuckoo family, roadrunners sometimes lay eggs in the nests of other birds, like ravens or mockingbirds. Chicks hatch covered in white down. Their eyes are closed, but they're still strong and active. It takes another 2.5 weeks or so until they leave the nest, and they stay with their parents until they're about 7 weeks old. Now, in terms of conservation, greater roadrunners are pretty numerous, and their breeding populations increased by about 1% between 2016 and 2019, according to the North American Breeding Bird Survey. It's nice to get to say that on occasion, although California has seen a significant drop in roadrunner numbers over the past several decades. But still, Partners in Flight estimates that the global breeding population is around 1.4 million and rates them 8 out of 20 on their Continental Concern score, indicating a species of low conservation concern. Threats to roadrunners include illegal shooting, often in the mistaken belief that they threaten populations of popular game birds. But habitat loss and fragmentation is, as always, a bigger threat because roadrunners, they need room to roam, and they're susceptible to development that fragments their territories and eliminates both prey and nesting sites. Household pets, feral animals like cats, and traffic can also displace or kill roadrunners. As for a cat killed by a roadrunner, I don't know, maybe it's possible if the cat attacked and the roadrunner was cornered, unable to escape, fought back, and got incredibly lucky. But it would certainly be very unusual. Cats outweigh roadrunners by about 90%, and the roadrunner's instinct would be to fly away if it could. Without an eyewitness or other forensic evidence, I would guess that something else happened here, like maybe the cat was already dead and another predator got the roadrunner while it was scavenging. But that's just speculation. If anyone has heard of something like this happening, please reach out and let me know. Okay, it's time for Roadrunner Final Fun Facts. Roadrunners hold a special place in the legends and belief systems of many native Southwestern American and Mexican peoples. The birds are revered for their courage, strength, speed, and endurance. And the Roadrunner's distinctive X shaped footprint, that zygodactyl arrangement with two toes pointing forward and two backward, is considered a sacred symbol by Pueblo tribes. It's believed to ward off evil. Basically, the X shape disguises the direction the bird is going and is thought to prevent evil spirits from following. So, there you have it. Everything you never knew that you needed to know about roadrunners. Thanks again to Dawn for the suggestion. I had a great time myself learning about these amazing birds. If you'd like to support the podcast, here's how you can do that. Become a patron. Subscriptions start at just $5 a month, and with 3 paid months, you get free Dispatches from the Forest merch. Find all the details at patreon.com/dispatchesfromtheforest. Donate through either PayPal or Venmo using my email address, dispatchesfromtheforest@gmail.com, which is also how you can contact me with any questions, comments, or requests for future episodes. You can also donate using the Cash App and the hashtag ForestNerd. You're welcome to send a check. Just message me for my mailing address. And of course, there's Dispatches from the Forest merch for sale. Go check out the merch store at cafepress.com/shop/dispatches from the forest. Click on products and see everything that we have to offer. Finally, you can follow Dispatches from the Forest on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm your host, Tim the Nature Nerd O'Hara, reminding you to go outside and get dirty. Dispatches from the Forest recognizes that the lands where we live, work, and recreate are the traditional homelands of the Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho people. We understand that this land holds immense significance for the original stewards, native nations, and peoples of this region. The Dispatches from the Forest podcast is a production of Dispatches from the Forest, may not be used or rebroadcast whole or in part without express written permission.